Logan was 7 years old. Logan didn't deserve this, whether he was on the sidewalk or whether he was in the street. And if you read the report, the Georgia State Patrol report, when interviewed, he says that he didn't see the kid until it was too late. He didn't use those exact words, but sort of
sounds like bullshit to me. And welcome back to another episode of True Stories from a Real Private Eye. I'm your host, Vinnie Coppola. With me, as always, is Lynn Lambdin, a real private investigator from Atlanta, Georgia. We have another depressing story for you, one that never should have happened. We're proud to get it out there because these things just have to stop happening. Lynn, take it away.
Well, Vinny, today we have Miss Shante Sharpe on the phone, and very, very sad story. Unfortunately, her 7-year-old kid, her 7-year-old son, was hit by a DUI driver, and unfortunately, he lost his life. And it's a very depressing story. This happened in Patterson, Georgia, and the police took several months. This happened in May of last year, and they didn't charge him until February of this year. I charged him with DUI, but they have not charged him with vehicular homicide, and I don't understand why, but we'll get into that. But we have on the phone this evening, we have Miss Shante Sharpe, his mother. Logan Sharpe was the young man who lost his life, and I feel that Logan cannot rest in peace until vehicular homicide is brought against this man, or at least there's an explanation, and a damn good explanation, of why they can't bring vehicular homicide charges against him.
Absolutely.
I think that at the very minimum, a jury should decide whether this man is innocent or guilty. And we'll go through the facts. We've got some very serious facts here. And Miss Shante, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We're glad to have you on the phone here. And anytime that you want to chime in and say something, you just chime in. I'm going to start by saying I have the police report here. And the police report is very vague. Very, very vague. Basically, just the police report basically just says that your child, Logan, ran out into the street. And basically that was it. He just ran out in front of the car.
No, that's not what happened. He wasn't even in the streets. He was on the sidewalk when he got hit.
So I'm going to let you basically tell us what you have gathered, what happened by talking to everybody there. Now, we're going to ask you a few questions as we go along, but from what you and I have talked about is that and pictures. I have not been to the scene. You live down in Patterson, Georgia, and I live in Atlanta, and that's about a 4-hour drive.
Correct.
I have pulled up the street views on Google Maps, and the curbs there on your street. This is a residential area. This is not a city street. This is a residential area out in the country. And the curbs there are not L curbs, meaning they don't go straight up. They're gradual curves. They're
right.
Like it's hard to explain. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen
it. Is.
but
it's real hard to explain them.
But it's like a beach curb. They gradually go up, and
almost like a ramp. It looks like a little ramp, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So is there, real quick, Shante? Is there a speed limit posted anywhere in the area?
Yes, when you first coming into Patterson, on my street, it's a 35,
right, or less?
Yeah,
it's
35.
35
and then
or less.
Yes. So when you go around the curve, so it's like right in front of the church is a stop sign. And when you go to the back street, it goes down from 35 to 25 back on the back street. but when you coming back around, it's 35 again. And they did not have the signs that has slow children at play.
Uh-huh.
They put them signs up after my son was hit and killed in this area. They only had two signs that said slow children at play. Is when you first coming into my street, and on the around my bend, like around the corner from my street, they had one on that side, but they didn't have one on my corner right here. They just put that one up. They put one up by my grandmother's house, and they put two up on Back Street that says slow children is at play.
Okay, now I think it's important that you note that where Logan was hit, it's probably a quarter of a mile straight, and I don't mean where it has a little curve this way and a little curve that way. I mean it is straight. It's as straight as a pencil. You can see all the way down this street. And when you read the police report and the supplemental report, Dalton Kaysen, who was driving the truck, the F-150, stated that he's seen other children playing in the neighborhood, but he didn't see, I think there were 6 other children. I think there were 7 total, 6 other children. He's seen them playing, but he said he didn't see Logan in the street until it was too late, until he was right up on him.
What was the time of day, Shante? What was the time of day?
It was 1:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday.
This is getting worse and worse. Residential area, posted speed limits, daytime. Unbelievable. I'm so sorry.
Well, yes, and so he's in this neighborhood, and he tells the Georgia State Patrol that he was there because the main street was shut down and he had to divert through this neighborhood. That's what he told the Georgia State Patrol.
Which is a lie, because when you first came in, they had the bridge blocked off for months before he came in. So he's seen the sign that says bridge is closed up ahead. He's seen that sign. When you first come in, they had the sign posted right there. So he knew the bridge was closed. There's no way to get out of Patterson that way that he claimed that he was trying to go. It's only you have to take the back road, come back around, and come back up the block where he came from, because that's the only way out. It's only one way in, one way out. With the bridge being closed, the bridge is open now, but when Logan got killed, it was closed.
So the police report itself, the initial police report, the accident report, the initial report in the state of Georgia, when there's an accident and a DUI or a death, they do an accident, they do a supplemental report. Well, in this case, they didn't do a supplemental report. They called in the Georgia Skirt Team, which is the Georgia State Patrol, and the Georgia State Patrol comes in and they do an accident reconstruction or whatever. So the Georgia State Patrol comes in and they do a accident reconstruction. And I've been in this business for 30 years. I have seen hundreds, if not thousands, of Georgia Skirt reports. And this is one of the, there's a lot of information in this skirt report, but there's nowhere near the information that I have seen. I've seen less injury in a skirt report with not, what I'm trying to say is that there's a 7-year-old kid who died here. This Georgia State Patrol officer showed up, and the first thing that he was advised of when he showed up, according to his report, was that there's a 7-year-old deceased kid in the back of the ambulance. And this there's really nothing in this skirt report here that's really, other than the tox report. There's nothing really here. Now, here's the part that bothers me the most about this skirt report. Or this accident reconstruction. I don't even think they call it the skirt report, because it really wasn't a skirt team that came out and done it. Okay, they put the tox report in this thing. Now this tox report took from May 19th until late December to come back, like December the 29th. Now, I do understand why it took so long to come back, because they send it to the GBI crime lab, and the GBI crime lab is backed up. So I really can't criticize them for taking so long to get that back, because I've seen it take longer. I have seen it come back quicker, but this guy come back with cocaine and fentanyl in his system. Now, I realize that fentanyl gets laced with everything, heroin and whatever. This guy had cocaine. Now, I've seen a lot of cocaine reports, and cocaine, when your body starts breaking cocaine down, it's not in its pure form. This guy had cocaine in his system that was active in his system, so he was currently high at the time. One of the things that they have trouble convicting people of being high on cocaine, or it's not like being drunk, that they can say, okay, we did a tox screen on this guy and he was 0.08 when we did the tox screen. That means that 2 hours ago, when he was driving, he was this drunk.
Right.
With cocaine, they can't do that.
Right.
So, but when they did the tox screen on this guy, he had active cocaine in his system when they pulled the blood 2 hours after, an hour and a half after the incident, whatever it was. He had active cocaine in his system. That means
he was using while he was driving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he had fentanyl in his system. And they charged him with a misdemeanor DUI. There was a death involved. And then, so I am not smart enough to know what all this tox screen stuff meant. So I ran it through AI. And I asked AI what this was, how high somebody would be if this was in their system. And AI said the combination of cocaine and fentanyl is at a dangerous mixture of stimulants and depressant when at this level's in the body. And it says, the AI goes on to say that it was at such a high level in his body that your right foot could be pressing the gas and your left foot could be pressing the brake and you wouldn't know it. That was the example that AI give it, how high you would be. And it goes on to say, I asked AI if because he stated in there that he didn't see this 7-year-old boy. I guess he was 6 years old at the time. He was 7 at the time.
He was just about to turn 8. He turned 8 December the 26th.
Okay, so he was 7 at the time. So I asked AI if he would have seen this boy at the time, and they said no. They said that there's a very good possibility that his brain wouldn't have registered, because his brain would have been in such a frenzy of the upper and the downer that he would have been trying to, that the cocaine would have been trying to tell his brain to do one thing, and the fentanyl would have been trying to tell his brain to go to sleep.
Right.
So he may not even have realized that the kid was in front of his car. Now this was me and AI having a conversation, and this was under the assumption of what Dalton Kaysen told the police, that the kid ran out in front of him. Now this wasn't the with him running off of the road. This was, I was going under the assumption of what
Dalton said.
What Dalton said. Now, with what Dalton said, with him running off of the road, with Logan running out in front of him, he hit Logan so hard that Logan lost a shoe. That means that he was traveling at a rate of speed in an F-150 truck, that he hit this 7-year-old kid so hard that he lost a shoe. He should have been charged with a felony DUI.
Going right to jail.
If he's not charged with a vehicular homicide, at a very minimum, they should have charged him with a felony DUI with a death involved. at a very minimum.
Yep, I agree.
I don't understand how they charged him with a misdemeanor DUI, and with I don't understand.
The paper said they don't have enough evidence for them to put the charge of vehicular homicide or any other charge besides the misdemeanor DUI because they don't have any evidence to prove that, which is a slap to me in the face because what do you mean?
Yeah.
The only reason why you got his blood is because he hit and killed Logan. That's the only reason why. It was an accident involved, the reason why you got his blood. So how do you mean there's no evidence? The evidence is right there. He killed someone.
Shante, I just laid out as a seasoned investigator and a person with common sense. Vinnie Coppola is a comedian and a writer. He writes for shows, and he's been a stand-up comedian all of his life, and he's trained in writing. He's not. My point being is Vinnie Coppola has no experience in investigating
or technical savvy when it comes to the computer.
So my point being is Vinnie Coppola has enough brains that he can think through the combination of cocaine and fentanyl and the amount that he had in his system, that this man should have been charged with a felony at the speed he was going, and with the amount of drugs that he had in his system, that this man should have at least, at the very minimum, had been charged with a felony DUI, because having this much drugs in your system, having this kind of drugs in your system, and having an accident without a death would rise to the level of a felony DUI.
Yeah.
Much less killing a kid. Now, let's just say that your kid was in the middle of the road saying, "Hey, you're going too fast," waving his arms. It still rises to the level of a felony because he was so high that his brain couldn't register a child in the road.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The laws, when you get your driver's license, you have to have control of your vehicle. If you hit somebody, if this guy hit another car, he would be liable because he's supposed to be in control of his car, especially in a residential neighborhood. Even if there wasn't anything posted, if there was nothing posted, no mile per hour posted, the law is 30 to 35 miles an hour in a residential area. That's one. Here's another question I have, Shante. Why, when Dalton said, "Hey, the only reason I'm in this neighborhood is because of the bridge," what was that? What was that like his excuse? I don't understand that.
That was his excuse because everybody was questioning him, asking him, why is he in this neighborhood? He don't stay in this area, so why are you here? Like, why are you here? That was the question from everybody. My whole family wanted to know from him, why are you here? So I guess he was trying to put that as an excuse, like, oh, I'm only here because I was trying to go to my people's house this way, but the bridge is closed, which is a lie because his people don't even stay the bridge way. They stay the opposite way of Patterson, across the other way. So he even lied about that. So it was just crazy that he was trying to make up things to try to make himself look good.
Try to weasel, but you just killed a kid. What do you just? But when you were talking to him, did he seem out of sorts? Did he seem high?
He seemed out of place. He was staring in midair. He wasn't crying. They said that was his dad. It was a tall, built man, taller than him. It was a little short white girl with brunette hair was standing by him, and a lady standing by him, and he just looked out of it. He wouldn't look at me. I said, "Dalton, if you did not mean to kill my son, please apologize. Say something to me. look at me, do anything. He would not. He stared out in space. He wouldn't say anything to me. The little girl was boo-hoo crying. His dad was comforting him, or whoever that man was comforting him. And he just was looking out of space. He just looked out of it. Like he didn't even know where he was at this point. But
Go ahead.
I wanted to point out one thing that's in the report that just struck a nerve to me. When it first opened up with what Dalton said, he stated that he seen the children on the sidewalk, is what Dalton said to the police. My thing is, how can you contradict saying that you seen the children on the sidewalk, but Logan darted out in front of your car? That's the part that don't get, it throws me off every time I read that. How did you see them on the sidewalk, but you hit Logan in the road? How? You said that he was on the sidewalk when you was approaching them. So how did you hit him in the street if he was on the sidewalk?
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. Because he was so out of his mind on chemical substances. He didn't see anything. And the fact that he showed zero emotion or any kind of compassion or anything for what he did afterwards shows you that as well. The guy was out of his mind. You're right, Lynn. DUI, felony DUI with a death, minimum. But vehicular manslaughter is what he deserves.
Exactly.
And vehicular manslaughter with the felony DUI.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I want to bring up a couple of other things that I have discovered while doing some research. I can't figure out why they won't charge him. They keep saying there's no evidence. Now, I've been in this business for 30 years.
I don't understand that.
Well,
that's dismissive. That's, oh, well, there's not enough evidence, so just you go away. That's what that is.
Exactly. Well, I've been in this business 30 years, and I've seen people charged with more with less. I worked a case out in Paulding County, Georgia, where I will discuss this case at a later time, but where a car, the guy was so drunk, and his talk screen just came back alcohol, where that he flipped his car. Paulding County is a 4-lane road. It's 2 lanes going east and 2 lanes going west, and then there's a big wide median, grass median in the middle, and he flipped his car. He went into the median, and his car flipped, and it hit the other side. When it hit the concrete on the other side, it just slid down and hit the oncoming traffic in the westbound lane head on and hit a woman. And the state trooper they done a talk screen on him, and they did blood, but they didn't want to charge him because his mother knew the state trooper because she worked for the Paulding County Court. Well, when I got involved and found all this out, I threatened to call the news, and they filed the charges finally. Well, he was so drunk that he didn't remember what happened, but the witnesses around told what happened. And they wrote him with a felony DUI because of the level of alcohol in his system. And there was no death involved. They wrote him a felony DUI for serious injury and the amount of his blood, alcohol. And they wrote him a felony DUI with no death involved. Now, how does this guy not get a felony DUI? I don't understand. This should be at least a felony DUI because of the amount of fentanyl and the amount of cocaine in his system.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no.
Does this guy have any contacts? Does this guy know?
Good question, Vinnie. Good question. So I start doing some research.
Okay.
Now, we have found out that in early February, his little brother, Dalton Kayson's little brother, died at 23 years old. At first glance, it appears to be a drug overdose. Now, I'm not going to badmouth his little brother because when you start doing your research, I came across a Facebook post that says, I wished I would have stayed with him longer. I may have been able to save his life, which in my mind could have been suicide. So I'm not going to say that he had a drug overdose. I'm not going to say that he committed suicide. I'm going to say that I don't know what happened to the young man. God bless his soul. God rest his soul. I don't know what happened to that 23-year-old man. I'm not going to speculate. I don't know what happened to him. God rest his soul. That's all I'm going to say. But I do know that doing my research, he worked for a company called K-Dug, D-U-G. Well, when I start looking into K-Dug has a CEO, and a lot of their officers in the company is named Dennison. Denison. Well, Dalton Carson, Dalton Carson's father is married to Julie Dennison. And the Dennisons appear to have a lot of power down there. I'm not saying that there's a connection, but they do appear to have a lot of money. And that could be the reason that there may be no charges filed. Somebody could have.
It makes sense. It makes sense to me because there's no other explanation. There's no other explanation except for this guy's got some kind of contact, some kind of he knows somebody or so. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Well, now I want to stress very strongly, very, very strongly that Mr. Carson's little brother was 23 years old. I don't know what happened to him. There is nothing that I have seen that indicates a drug overdose, that indicates any kind of suicide. I have no idea what happened to him. He could have died of natural causes in his bed. I have no idea.
He's irrelevant. He's irrelevant.
He's irrelevant. God rest his soul. I don't wish anything bad on the family. God rest his soul. But I do know that their stepmother, that their step. I'm pretty sure that this is their step. I think it's their stepmother. It's either their mother or their step. I think it's their stepmother. I think Julie Dennison is their stepmother. Is married to Michael R. Carson. Michael R. Carson is Dalton Carson's father. And it appears to me, just on the surface, I'm not making any accusations. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying that if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, you got to examine it.
Yeah, his chances are it's a duck. Chances are.
And I'm examining that duck. Now, the CEO of K-Dug is related to Julie. It appears that he's related to Julie somehow. I haven't got that connection figured out yet, but my investigative mind is working on that connection, and I will continue to work on that connection until I figure it out. And then I will work on the connection to see how the Dennisons are connected to the city council, the police department. And I haven't found any connections. Let me make that clear. I have found no connections at this point to any police officers, to any city council, to any judges, to anybody. But I will keep looking until I find those connections. If there is any, they may not be any. I don't know. I have no clue.
It's literally the only explanation that makes sense.
It's the only explanation that I see.
Yeah.
And
without pointing fingers to any one person, I'm just saying that somebody is getting paid off. Somebody was collecting money. Somebody said, "Do me this favor." it doesn't. There's no other in my mind. And you want to know something? Hey, if there's somebody listening right now and they say, "Oh, that's not it," the reason. Well, come on, let's go. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Email it. You email us realprivateeyestories@gmail.com. You want to tell your story? Come on, let's hear your side of the story. But from where I'm sitting, this is wrong. That guy should be in jail right now. I mean, I got to tell you something. I think there should be capital crimes for more. I think there should be capital punishment for more crimes, and I think this is one of them.
Well, there should be. Right. He should be at least. He should go in front of a jury.
Yeah.
He should. This case should be put in front of a jury, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that when charges are brought against him, this should be moved out of that county, and this should be put in a county where that there can be an impartial jury that knows no one involved.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This should not go to trial in that county.
Right.
This should not be in that county. Now, I'm not saying that there's a connection here, but I'm saying that right now, this is the connection to the money. And if you want to know where the money leads, if you want to know where, follow the money.
I don't know how this guy lives with himself. How does he live with himself? How does he live with himself?
Now you want to know what made me almost cry? When I was doing research on this guy, he has a 2-year-old kid. At the time of this incident, he had around a 2-year-old kid. I'm not sure. And his girlfriend or wife was pregnant with another child when this happened. And he was so high on fentanyl and cocaine that he killed a 7-year-old. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Shante, have you talked to any lawyers or anything about this at all?
I have. It's a lot going on with the lawyers side of it. Like I said, a lot of people have been reaching out to me about it, but it's more aspect of a civil suit aspect of it, and I wasn't trying to. I know that could help, but I was really mainly focused on doing time for Logan, not really pursuing. And I know, like I said, I done talked to a lot of lawyers, and they said that can help and open doors and stuff like that. But I had so much going on with my dad when it first happened. He was drunk, and he called Morgan & Morgan and had me with Morgan & Morgan, and I had to go down to Morgan & Morgan office and have them on recording and tell them, listen, y'all railroaded me. I was under medication. When my dad signed me up, he used my phone to write my name as a electronic signature to have me with Morgan & Morgan. So it was a lot to try to pull myself from Morgan & Morgan for them trying to go after the insurance money. So I did that, and then my grandma had me to go with another law firm called Orlando Firm, and they basically did the same thing. Now, what they did was 10 times worse than what Morgan & Morgan did. They went ahead, called Progressive without my knowledge, called me back and said, hey, we got the check. We're going to send you the rest of your money, but we got the check. We done signed for it. It's over with. Here you go. Sign off. Go on about your business. Yeah,
but from my understanding on that, you did sign off on that, and they did settle that case for policy limits.
Yes.
But from my understanding, Dalton was driving a $80,000 truck somewhere in the neighborhood. I'm not exactly, but he was driving a very expensive Ford F-150 and had a $25,000 insurance policy on it.
Uh-huh.
And the law firm that settled your case actually they may not have handled it exactly the way that you wanted it handled, but they did nothing wrong. You did sign off on that for them to settle that, from my understanding.
I signed off on it only because they told me I had to. They like, we can't send the money back to Progressive.
Yeah.
So it's like I was railroaded into signing something that I told them I didn't want them to do in the beginning. I told them, do not contact Progressive. We don't want the money from Progressive. They acted like they could get us like a wrongful death suit going, and that's what we was trying to pursue. But they went and called Progressive because that's all they could do.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I guess you could call it a wrongful death suit, and they did settle it for policy limits. I haven't seen what you signed, but I'm sure that they had you sign a limited release, meaning that if there's any other insurance policy limits out there, that you can go after them, or if there's any, if he has any assets, you can go after his assets. I'm sure that they didn't have you sign a full release.
Do you think they kind of pushed her a little bit? Hey, sign this, let's get this done, or blah blah blah. Kind of backed her in a corner. Do you get that feeling, Lynn?
Well, it'd be hard for me to speculate on that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see what happened.
What does it sound like to you? Because it sounds like it to me.
Well,
it sounds like they fast-tracked her thing and just made, here, go away here.
I'm sure that when they got the check in, they pressured her to sign it because they wanted to take their cut out of it and move on. I'm sure that happened beyond a shadow of a doubt. But here's the issue with that. That was the policy limit, and she either takes that, because once the statute of limitations runs, she doesn't get it.
Exactly.
So she either takes it or she doesn't get it. So you either that's the law. So you either what options do you have here?
Right.
Now what I mean by a limited release is when something like this happens, you can either sign a full release or a limited release. If you sign a full release, that means that you've released everybody and you can never, it's done. It's over. You have no more rights. You sign a limited release and you just release Progressive and you release nobody else. You can still go after him personally. You can still go after your uninsured motorist. You can go after anybody else out there that has any insurance. If he has any assets, you can go after those assets, or whatever the situation may be. Because insurance has policy limits, and my point being is he had a truck that was worth, a lot more than the $25,000 limits. He's high on cocaine and fentanyl, and her poor son dies, which no amount of money is worth that kid's life. He could have had a $10 billion policy, and it would have been worth that kid's life.
No.
Trust me, Miss Sharpe would not have traded her son's life for all the money in the world.
Right.
So, and I understand her frustration, and I understand her being pissed about the money. Trust me, I get it, because she is bitter because the people at the law firm is just wanting their cut of that money, and here's your cut. They did a job. She's looking at it differently. She's looking at it as they trading that money for her kid's life, and that's really not the way it is, because I mean, it's a fine line. Trust me, because I've been on both sides. I'm not take that back. I have not been on both sides, because I've never had to lose a loved one for an insurance policy. I can never put myself in Miss Sharpe's place. Never ever could I. Never. That's why I hope and pray to God that somebody hears this podcast and grows a conscience and files charges. Hopefully the voters of Pierce County vote the DA out of office, votes the sheriff out of office, and somebody grows a pair and says, I don't want your money. You can't buy me off, and files charges against this man and against Dalton Kaysen and puts it in front of a jury. And if a jury says, well, look, we don't think that he's guilty, then the good citizens of Pierce County said he's not guilty. Then at least he had his day in court, and Miss Miss Sharpe knows that the citizens of her county said he's not guilty. But I don't think that'll happen. I think if you put it in front of a jury, I think if you put him in front of a jury 10 different times, I think they'll find him guilty 10 different times, especially when they see this talk screen.
I'll tell you this. If this even goes to court, it won't. I mean, I'm sorry. This won't ever get to court because the guy will plea out. The lawyers will say, look, this is what they have against you. This is blah, 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 blah. If you go to court, you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail. You plea out, you might be out in 20 years. You know, that's what he deserves, right?
Exactly.
There.
Yeah, I agree with you because I think when they see the talk screen, I think if he lets a jury see the talk screen, I think he's an idiot.
The question is why? Why aren't they pursuing this? Why did they let it slide on a misdemeanor DUI? How is that? And I'm telling you, the only thing that makes sense to me is that someone got paid off. That's it.
Somewhere. And no, not someone, a system.
A system. Yeah, the whole system broke down. The whole system broke down. But I'm telling you, in order for that to happen, it starts with patient zero, and patient zero got paid off.
Shante, Vinnie and I have been talking about this for several weeks. It started out with one bad police officer, lies in court. The judge catches him lying in court and lets him get away with it. Now that police officer can get away with anything he wants, because if he doesn't, then he can roll on the judge and say, look, you got away with it. You let me get away with lying last time. You're going to let me get away with it this time, or I'm going to roll on you. So whoever is letting this Dalton Kaysen walk free on this is knows something on more than one person. Because if it's the DA that's doing it, then it's the DA. If it's the sheriff's department, that sheriff is bold enough to let this man walk for a reason. If it's the Georgia State Patrol, they're bold enough to do it for a reason. Whoever it is, whoever's doing the favor for the family, whoever it is, whatever the situation is, whatever the ties are, they're bold enough to do it because they can roll on somebody.
They've been enabled by somebody.
They've been enabled by somebody higher up, or the county's just that dirty. Or the county's just that dirty. And, I hate to sound like this because I really am not this type of person. But is it because that you live in a urban neighborhood and your son's black and he's a little white yuppie kid? Is that the reason?
That's what I'm feeling like, because this is not the first time Dalton Kaysen has got in trouble with the law about drugs. It's not the first time.
Really? Because I didn't, matter of fact, I didn't even try to look at his criminal history. I've been so busy doing other research. So he's actually been in trouble with the law with drugs on other situations.
Yes, him and his friends got in trouble with the law with drugs again, and I think it was cocaine that he got in trouble with, and it was another slap on the wrist.
And was this before?
Was way before. Yep, this was way before Logan.
Huh.
Way before. So this is not his first rodeo, and he got a misdemeanor with that.
This episode is brought to you by Simple Funding, LLC. For all of your pre-settlement funding needs, contact Simple Funding, LLC to receive your money promptly. They're a customer-centric legal funding company that provides exceptional funding solutions at affordable rates. Simple Funding covers a diverse range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, worker compensation, medical malpractice, wrongful death, and more. They recognize that life goes on and you need to access your funds immediately, which is why they offer clients a swift and efficient process with minimal documentation requirements. For more information, visit simplefundingllc.com or contact them directly at 678-855-6232.
So this is a second drug offense.
A repeat offender. Yeah.
Yeah.
A repeat offender.
So
Correct.
So now I heard rumors. Now this is just rumors. This is not fact. This is just rumors that he may have been in your neighborhood trying to purchase drugs.
Correct.
So that is a true. I mean, you've heard that.
Yes.
Now I also heard that there was a witness. That there's contradicting stories about what the police put in the police report about what the witness said and what the witness is actually saying. Is there any way that you can connect me with that witness so that we can interview that witness on this podcast?
Yes, it is, and I would. He's an older gentleman, so I would have to go down there, and because he lives right down the street where it happens, like right in front of the house. I actually have a cross with my son's picture on it in his yard, to where it happened at. So I would have to go down there and actually have him call you guys or however it may be to get him on the phone, because he's an older guy, so I have to get him connected with y'all in that type of way. It wouldn't be tonight because I know he's sleep.
No,
because he's
fine.
An older gentleman.
Yes. So if we schedule a time, could you put him in front of a computer so that we could record him in person? Giving a statement. Okay, well, we'll set that up with you at a later time, because I would like to record him in person. I'm not in person, but record him on this podcast in his words, stating what he's seen, good or bad, whether it helps your case or whether it hurts your case. I would like to hear his statement. Now,
okay, I sure will.
Now, the person that he was in the neighborhood to buy drugs from, do you know who that person is?
Actually, it was a bunch of people saying a bunch of names, so I really don't know per se who it is that he was getting the drugs from, because it was 2 or 3 names that they brought up.
Yeah, because I'm not.
It finally makes sense to me why he was all big about, oh, I'm just in the neighborhood because the bridge and blah 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 blah. Now this is making.
The thing is, they allowed him before. Now, Dalton was able to call his own wrecker to come get his truck, and his family came and was getting things out of the truck before they even put it on the wrecker. So the police wasn't able to retrieve anything from the vehicle because his family hadn't already took everything out of the truck before the police even got here.
Did anybody video that?
Isn't that convenient?
Nope.
So nobody
was so lost. Everybody was so in a fog and so lost and so devastated, because this is Patterson. Things like this do not happen in this small city. So it was just so devastating. Nobody recorded anything, which is crazy to me, because everybody always have their phones out. But this particular time, nobody had nothing out. Not even me. I didn't even have my phone on me. I had to get someone to run to the house and grab my phone so I can call Logan's dad to tell him what was going on.
Can you tell us the name of the street, so if anybody wants to pull it up on the map?
The street is called Top Bridge Road. Tyre.
Tyre Bridge Road, and that's that's the neighborhood. You can pull it right up on Google Map, and you can go to the street view, and you can look at it. And the street numbers that it happened is it happened in front of 3319 Tyre Bridge Road, and you can pull it up and you can see right where it happened. And we're going to put the police report up. You can there'll be a link to the police report. There'll be a link to the Georgia State Patrol report, and we'll put up a link to where I was talking to where I asked the AI to break down the talk screen, so you can see that on the AI report too.
Yeah, and for anybody listening, and if anybody has any kind of means to help bring justice for Logan, I mean, please send us an email, realprivateeyestories@gmail.com. Because this little kid doesn't deserve this. This kid doesn't deserve this. I mean, and I don't care what the guy says. Oh, I was coming through this, whether it was a bridge or whatever. You're not supposed to be driving excessively in a residential area, and you're always supposed to be looking around for kids, and you're always supposed to be in control of your car, and you're not supposed to be on drugs.
Listen. If you want to get high, you go do all the drugs you want to do. Stay out of your car. And if you want to get high and drive in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Drive recklessly through your neighborhood. Run over your family members, not mine.
Yeah.
Not
Shante's.
Listen.
Right.
Listen. Here's the problem. All joking aside, here's the problem. I don't care what neighborhood you live in. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what language you speak. Logan was 7 years old. Logan didn't deserve this, whether he was on the sidewalk or whether he was in the street. This man was high, and he was so high that he didn't realize that he had hit this little kid. And if you read the report, the Georgia State Patrol report, when interviewed, he kind of indicates that he didn't even see the kid until it hit the kid. So he didn't say that the kid darted out in front of him when you read the report. He says that he didn't see the kid until it was too late. He didn't use those exact words, but sort of.
Sounds like bullshit to me.
Here's the problem. I don't care who you know. I don't care how connected you are. Logan needs justice.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of neighborhood Logan grew up in, or what kind of if Logan's family is wealthy or not. I don't care if Dalton went to Logan's neighborhood to buy drugs. That's not Logan's fault. Yeah. Logan deserves justice.
Yes.
I don't care.
And Shante deserves answers. I mean, why was this guy just given a misdemeanor, and what's taking so long?
Right.
What's time? I mean, wouldn't that bring you a little bit of relief if someone just knocked on your door one day and said, "Hey, the reason this is happening is because
X, Y, and Z."
X, Y, and Z, and blah, 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 know somebody. And listen, there's nothing else we can do for you. But I just want you to know that that's why this is happening.
Well, here's the problem, Vinnie.
Wouldn't that relieve you just a little bit? Go, oh, okay. So they're not just ignoring me. They're not just, sweeping me under the rug. There's powerful forces at work here, which is usually the case. And they need to be exposed is what happens. They need to be exposed.
Let's take this a step further. Look at it this way. If Logan, if Dalton Kaysen can run over a 7-year-old child, and the police can come in and say, we can just sweep this under the rug, and we wouldn't even write him a DUI, but since he was so high that he really didn't have control over his legs and didn't know what he was doing, we just have to. But we're going to let the serious stuff go. But we're just going to write him a misdemeanor on this other stuff. Shouldn't the members, shouldn't the residents of Pierce County be angry? Shouldn't the residents of Pierce County be in an uproar, whether they're black or white? Shouldn't I would be angry if I was a member? I'm angry, and I'm not even a member of Pierce County, and it angers me.
Me too.
Because because that means that the next time that Dalton gets high and runs over somebody, it may be a white person, and it may be somebody from another influential family, and then they may not be able to get justice. And then what? Then what's going to happen?
Yeah, he just keeps doing it.
And then now all of a sudden we've got trouble, right? I mean, now what happens? Now we no longer can sweep it under the rug, because now it's not some poor black child from an urban neighborhood. Now what do we do? I mean, shouldn't the residents of Pierce County care that one family can do whatever they want and get away with it? Now, they can say anything they want. The sheriff's office can go, well, there's no evidence that he committed vehicular homicide. BS. There is case law in Georgia that states that as high as he was, that first of all, his story can't be believed. And second of all, as high as he was, that is a minimum of felony DUI. But yet, they're just going, well, there's really no evidence. Yes, there is. There's a dead kid.
Yeah. Well, what is going to be your next step with this, Shante?
So I actually had I had talked to the state patrol office, which is the local state patrol. They told me that that I needed to speak to the officer that was the one that took the initial report, which his name is Chase Militant. So Chase Militant told his secretary to tell me to call Adam Farrell from Blackshear, which is a misdemeanor attorney. So I got in contact with him finally after 2 to 3 weeks of chasing him down. My grandma called Wasim Ramsey, the chief of police, and told him that I was getting a runaround from this Adam dude. So I guess he made a phone call. So Adam called me about a week or two ago and was telling me he really didn't want to give me a call because he didn't have all his evidence, and that Dalton has a misdemeanor DUI, and the reason why he didn't want to call me is because he was waiting to get all the case information, because I straight up asked him, like, when are y'all gonna file more charges on him for the vehicular homicide or manslaughter, because you wouldn't have the DUI without him, fatally killing my son. So I want to know why he hasn't been charged with that. And he was like, well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't have the case files just yet we have to prove that he I guess killed him. And I'm like, huh? That don't make sense to me. Like, what do you mean you have to prove that?
My son's dead. Oh my God. I don't.
Yeah, that's what he told me. And then he turned around and said, well, he had a bunch of the substances in his system. So he's telling me he had a large amount in his system, but they have to prove, quote unquote, that he killed Logan. Like, Dalton wasn't the one that was driving the car. That's what throws me off, because he like, well, we got to have evidence and we have to prove that's what happened. What?
Well, there's a in the Georgia State Patrol report, it says that there's a witness that seen him driving the truck.
Apparently, a ghost was driving, because he said he had to prove it. So
how many?
I'm not really sure.
How many eyewitnesses were there that the police interviewed?
Just one.
Just one. They did not interview my kids. which my oldest son was 14 at the time. He's still 14, turned 15 this next month. And my nephew was 15. He did not interview my nephew. All my kids was there and seen the accident with their own eyes. They did not interview anybody. And there was adults. When I came on the scene, my Aunt Vanessa was on the scene when I went to Logan's body. I was the first one that went to my son's body. But when the police came, I was so in a fog, I couldn't remember anything. She said the police was about to interview my son, and she stepped in and grabbed Keyshawn by his shoulder, and he turned around and walked off.
Is that what happened?
She said he turned around and walked off. He was about to ask my oldest son some questions, but since she came and intervened and stood beside him so he wouldn't be questioned without an adult present, he turned around and walked off.
Oh, so they didn't want to interview him when an adult was present.
Correct.
So they wanted to converse. They wanted to direct that his answers to how they wanted it.
Exactly. But since she came over and put her hand on his shoulder, he turned around and walked off. And nobody ever interviewed none of my children. They didn't interview me. They didn't do anything. They interviewed that witness, and then they lied on his statement, and they interviewed Kaysen Dalton. That was it. They didn't interview nobody else.
So, yeah, my next question to you was, when you said they didn't interview anybody, my next question was going to be, well, what did they do? You know, what the heck did these cops do?
Oh, they did absolutely nothing. They told lies in the report. That's all it is a bunch of lies in the police report. They turned around and just kept asking me, well, where's Logan's birth certificate? Where's his, now mind you, I'm in a fog. I can't even remember what my first name is, let alone where all this stuff that they asking me. And they kept asking me over and over, where's this? Where's that? And where's this? And where's that? And I'm like, I don't know. I right now, I don't even know who I am, where I'm at. And they was hounding me about information about him.
Well, you was in shock. You were your son. Your 7-year-old son was just killed.
How many police officers arrived on the scene? How many cop cars?
I seen it. It was 3 that I know of. It was a guy that I went to school with. I cannot remember his name. Chase Militant and another police officer. It was 3 on the scene that I seen with my own eyes. I'm not really sure how many, but it took them so long to get here. They recorded my son's death at 1:30 something. Logan had been dead for about 15 to 20 minutes before they came.
But that was enough time for what's this guy's name?
Dalton Kaysen.
Dalton. There was enough time for Dalton's family to arrive on the scene and clean out his truck. I'll tell you this, man. He for a junkie, this guy sure has the wherewithal to call his family when he hits a kid. Get over here quick. You're gonna have to clean out my truck.
Yep. And they did. They did exactly that. And in the report, they got Logan body almost like a centimeter or something away from Dalton's truck, which is such a lie. He pulled up so far away from Logan's body to the man that, gave his statement stated that he thought it was a hit and run because he could no longer see the truck. That's how far he pulled up from Logan's body. And the only reason why he stopped is because my oldest son ran past the truck and screamed, "I'm going to get my mom. You just killed my brother."
Wow.
Well, he didn't stop. I don't think it was an intentional hit and run. I think that he didn't stop because he was so high. He didn't realize.
He didn't know. Yep. He didn't realize what he done.
Yep.
He bumped something, probably thought it was an animal, and he just cruising on.
Yeah, and then
he's so high, He don't even get it until my son said what he said, and that's what made him stop, because he's like, wait, what did he just say? I hit somebody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to the police report, there was 3 police officers on the scene. There was a Pierce County sheriff and 2 state patrols.
See, I knew I wasn't crazy. I know I seen 3.
Yeah.
So here's what I'd like to say is that we would like to offer Dalton Kaysen. He's welcome to email us to come on. We would offer him to come on. We're not going to argue with him. We would like to talk to him.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try not to call him names. We're gonna try.
Well, we would like to hear his side of the story. And
we'll listen to him. We'll listen to him.
And if he wants to come on with an attorney, I'll be more than happy to speak with his attorney.
Can do that too.
I have spoken with many attorneys. I've argued with many attorneys. And I will tell you that I don't put up with any attorney's BS. I will put them in their place real quickly. And if any of his family wants to come on, we'll be more than happy to talk with them respectfully. We're not going to argue with them. They're not going to call us names. They're not going to point accusations. They're not. Remember, Dalton hit and killed a 7-year-old. Those are
facts of the case. Those are the facts.
Those are the facts. And Dalton was higher than a kite.
Those are the facts.
Those are the facts. And those are the facts.
It's an open and shut case, in my opinion. But we will listen. We will listen to Dalton. If any of the police officers that were on the scene care to shed light on what they saw, we'll listen. We'll give them their chance to speak up. And I'm telling you how this looks to me. It looks like this kid, Dalton, got off because somebody knows somebody and somebody got paid. I'm sorry. That's my naive assessment of this.
We would love to talk to anybody involved in Pierce County, anybody involved in the family. But remember, the facts are not in your favor, and you have to suffer those consequences when we talk to you.
Yeah.
Those are the cold, hard facts. We have them in writing. We have the blood test results. You have to suffer those consequences. But we would love for you to come on and talk to us. We're not going to be mean to you. We're not going to be rude to you, but we are going to ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
And we are going to ask, who do you know? Who are you paying off? Who's getting paid off? We want to know these questions because if it would have been me that ran over Logan, I would have been charged with vehicular homicide.
So would I.
So I want to know why Dalton.
In a second, without a doubt. Yep.
And I want to know why Dalton is not being charged. And this podcast is heard across the United States and in very many foreign countries. And I am going to request that everybody that listens to this podcast pick up the phone, call the Pierce County Sheriff, call the Georgia State Patrol in Pierce County and in Brunswick, and request that charges be filed. Be respectful. Do not curse.
Ask questions. Why? Why wasn't he charged with vehicular manslaughter? Why?
And Fox 5 News has agreed. One of the attorneys that I work for, that we do a lot of work with, Mr. Weaver, Sam Weaver of Banks and Weaver, some of the best attorneys in the state of Georgia. I would refer them to anybody. Has graciously got Fox 5 to look at this case, and hopefully they do an interview with Shante and get it on the news.
Investigative journalism too.
Yes. Hopefully they can get it on the news, and our little podcast hopefully has made that happen. So hopefully we can get that on the news for her. But call Pierce County, get them interested, embarrass them, call them, ask them. Don't just be respectful. Don't cuss anybody. Don't yell at anybody. Be respectful. Send them emails to their inbox and ask them why Logan Sharpe cannot get justice. Just Call them, ask,
beat them down with texts and emails and phone calls.
give them send them so many emails and texts and calls that they cannot do any other business. Make them file charges against Dalton Cason, Cason, Dalton Cason. Make them do their job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
please do that. And Shante, I have to say this one got me here a little bit because my boy is 7. He turned 7 in December, and to hear it, just I can't imagine what you went through, what you're still going through. So I'm very, very sorry you had to I'm very sorry this happened to you. I hope in some way we can bring you some peace.
Thank you.
Well, this is this little boy needs to rest in peace. This little boy needs justice. This has got to. I mean, at the very minimum, let a jury decide. That's a police officer, a district attorney. That is not the way our justice system is set up. Our justice system is set up for a jury decide. Let a jury of your peers decide, or a jury of Dalton Cason's peers decide whether he is guilty of vehicular manslaughter. That's all we ask. That's all that can be asked. No hard feelings. I hope that Dalton is clean. I hope he got off the drugs. I wish him and his family well. You're
a better man than me, Lynn.
Well,
I don't.
And Miss Sharpe,
no good feelings for this gentleman at all. I'm sorry. I have nothing good to say about him. I'd like some time alone in a room with him.
Well, and I didn't say, Vinnie, I never said what I would like to do to him for what he done to this kid.
Yeah.
That's a different story. That's a totally different story.
I mean, listen, I don't think drugs is an excuse. I don't feel sorry for him that he has this addiction. It's what he did was evil and pure and I'm sorry. But Shante, is there anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to request? Is there anything you'd like to let us know about anything that's going on or what's happening?
Nope, that's about it. I just want to get justice. I've been screaming that since day one. And like you all said, I thought it was going to be an open and shut case. I was real hopeful in the beginning. I was like, especially when the toxicology report came back, I was screaming and hollering because for the life of me, everybody was like, well, it's an accident, and the only way that he will go to jail is if they can prove that he was on some type of substance. So when it did come back that he was, I was like, okay, they got him. He's going to jail. And then nothing happened, and I'm like, okay, what's really going on? So I said all that to say I just pray to God every night that he just be held accountable. That's all I want. For him to be held accountable 100%. And I get justice.
100%. Here's what I want, and we'll wrap it up with this. I want not only for him to be held accountable, but for you to have answers. I want you to have answers. Why he wasn't charged immediately, and why this wasn't fast tracked to jail for him. I would love. I want you to have answers, and I want justice for Logan, and I want this guy in jail.
Well, Miss Sharpe, I just want to say that I pray for you, and I pray for you to have peace, and I pray for Logan to have to rest in peace, and the only way that that's going to happen is if we can get justice and get him in front of a jury, and that's the only way. And I know that it's going to be hard for you to ever rest until that happens. And I know that your spirit is going to fight for him to get that, and hope and pray to God that we can help you get that word out. And, he has to pay. He has to pay for what he done. He has to pay. And hopefully the citizens of Pierce County can hear this podcast and understand that they have to stand up and scream and yell and tell their elected officials that they have to stand up and demand that he be prosecuted or voted out of office, and they'll get somebody in that will prosecute him. So we will help you do that.
Or if somebody with means who hears this podcast and has the means to help Shante pursue this, because it's something, it may have to take a team of people with some kind of financial backing or something like that to help her. But
Vinny, there's nothing more powerful than the voters. When the elected officials think they're going to get voted out of office and have that power taken away from them, they will stand up and do something. Trust me.
I love it. That's right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Shante. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. We hope that we helped, or that we will help you, and we will try. We're going to do our best.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody, we'll see you next week.